That's some good Arnold Palmer. Hello everybody at Genericon! My name is Aniyah Lyszt and I'm here with Pleasant Nightmare Entertainment and I have got some fresh tea for you today. So strap on your seatbelts, kids, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. For those of you who were lucky enough to be at Genericon last year, who survived the great Genericon blizzard of 2018, hi! We might have met, and how you doing? Hope you're doing well. If any of you do know me from last year, you probably know me either from the Pleasant Nightmare Entertainment Cabaret, or the Burlesque Show, as well as the 18 plus Let's Make a Date Cosplay Edition, which is, of course, an 18 plus dating game. We also had some other content there last year. I am more well known for my 18 plus content when I provide it because I am a sex educator in training, you might say. I've been studying this stuff for a while now, and it's a passion of mine. I love educating people about, their anatomy and their human sexuality. So that's a little preface about me, if for those of you who don't know me too well, if at all. I am not exactly making this video on a happy note, and I apologize for that now, but this is an apology video to let all of you know that unfortunately Pleasant Nightmare Entertainment and myself, Aniyah Lyszt, we will not be able to attend Genericon this year. It's like, you're probably wondering, why the hell did you wait so long to post this video, Aniyah? Hello, this is too last minute. Calm down. Allow me to explain. Honestly, guys, this is something that I tried very, very hard not to have to come to this conclusion. The convention staff themselves at Genericon, they also campaigned very hard to not have this happen. Now, I want to start out this video by saying that I am making this as an apology so that you all can hear directly from me why we aren't showing up. And this is some subject matter that is also very near and dear to my heart, and I know it will be near and dear to many of you, especially those of you who align more progressively and who believe in discussing human sexuality and such. So if this is something that interests you, stay tuned. But I believe in full transparency, guys. I want to show you every email that was sent between myself, the advisor, and the convention chair in as linear a way as possible. I also want to make it known that we all know how you guys are in the community. Y'all are fucking vicious. Y'all like to go after people and y'all want blood. Unless it's your favorite voice actor, but we'll talk about that another time. I will also state this now, guys. I don't pull a whole lot of punches whenever it comes to essentially calling people out whenever I feel that we have been wronged. I often do try to stay as professional as I can. Though, granted, my idea of professionalism is generally more open and honest and communicative with people, as opposed to trying to be completely politically correct all the time and always walking on eggshells around each other and never really having open communication. I don't like that. I'm not the best at formal speaking, personally. It's not really my style, as anybody who has ever seen any programs I host can tell you. I am very much about participation of the audience so that I don't put you guys to sleep, which hopefully this video is not doing to you all. Sorry guys, I have a lot of things written down in notes because there is just so much to remember, and my brain is already not that great at holding on to a ton of information at a time, which is why I write notes and mark my calendar and do all that crazy stuff just to keep track of things. So without further ado, let's hop right into this. It wasn't until the 11th of this month that we received an email from Charles, the convention chair, basically letting us know that there had been a cancellation for Pleasant Nightmare Entertainment. It was odd. I've never really received anything like this before. So up until this point, we were all under the assumption that everything was fine. It was all kosher, it was good. We were through the system. We had no problems last year. So what was there to really think about? And the communication amongst the staff seemed to be going so much better this year than the nightmare that it really was last year. But, it worked out in the end. So we all thought it was okay. We had no alarms raised up until this point. So, continuing on. So on the 11th, we get this email. So basically what had happened was the school, so we were told, had supposedly tried to contact us on our email address twice. However, I received neither of these emails, not even in my spam folder. And when I went to search for them, of course, I could not find them. And of course, nobody had thought to call me directly, despite the fact that in the signature line that I have always used for our troupe, it has always had at least 3 additional forms of contact, one being my personal phone number that you can get a hold of me on literally at any time of the day or night, our website, and our Facebook page with direct links to all. And if anybody knows anything about us or the advertisement that we have, it's not very hard to find a method of contact. We're on Facebook, Instagram, a lot of other places. There are enough ways to try to get a hold of us, and I receive no phone calls of any kind. And obviously, I wasn't receiving these emails, so there's that as well. As I said, I received no calls after the emails had gone out. Supposedly, the first one was sent out on the 25th saying that they had questions about our content and what was involved in it. And because of that, they asked me supposedly to send them more of an explanation to explain what the position was of the content. We are booked with a contract because we are a traveling performance art group. We are a larger group of people. And over the years, I've discovered it is just so much easier to have a contract because then it's harder for people to take advantage of you. Now, I like to be very thorough in our contracts, and I laid out, I thought pretty clearly, what the content would be. Several of our programs, most of them actually, were accepted to the convention last year without any kind of a problem. Well, apparently the school decided that that was an issue. Their advisor then later got a hold of me, or tried to, on the 5th of February, this giving us less than a month of time to prepare for the event. And it says specifically in our contract that we need to have it signed at least 1 month to the day ahead of time for us to actually be able to show up to the event. Now, I'm oftentimes willing to bend on that because, especially with the college convention, the staff wasn't determined until a little later at the tail end of 2018, and it takes some time to get everything set up, especially if you are constantly working with an alternating crew, so I understand that. I've also run a convention in the past, essentially by myself, 2 consecutive years in a row. So I also understand how a lot of that works behind the scenes, which I admit is where I have a very harshly critical bias against a lot of events when I see things going wrong. But that's also why in this case I'm making this video to help kind of shed light on where the actual problems are coming from, so that hopefully in the future no other programmers, no other convention board members will have to deal with this. I'm hoping that this experience leads to better communication in the future, and hopefully better understanding of what to do, when to do it, and how to more effectively help prevent problems like this in the future. I just find it extremely odd that a college professor and advisor to a student organization wouldn't maybe think to themselves that, they didn't answer me on this time-sensitive issue. This is a pretty big deal, and it's going to take some time because this is going to deal with Title IX and school board officials and all kinds of other things that might possibly be involved in the system. So why wouldn't you call my phone number directly if I wasn't answering your emails? I don't understand how it wouldn't occur to anybody, especially somebody who should be as experienced as that perhaps maybe the emails just didn't go through. And if you need to get a hold of somebody in a timely fashion, you call a phone number, especially if they provide it to you. But maybe I'm just being an old lady and using old lady logic here. I love landlines. But basically, we found it very odd that we were going to be the ones coming under scrutiny when we know for a fact that there was a hentai dubbing hosted by a guy who went in clearly inebriated under the influence of alcohol and went in reeking of marijuana. Not that I'm complaining about marijuana, but whenever you're on a campus that doesn't allow that, and you're stinking up an entire room full of people who didn't actually consent to be around that substance, you're kind of a jerk. You're also running the risk of getting the school and the event and all of these nice things that these people have worked so hard to provide you with. You are risking all of that being taken away for your own lack of consideration for others and consequences. When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences? You jackass. The first email supposedly came to us on the 25th of January from their advisor, Mrs. Cameron McLean. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with what Title IX is, I actually wasn't too familiar with it up until this point because I never had any issues with this type of a thing before, I'll be honest. But my ignorant ass went to Google, and of course I did a little research, and several of my troop members knew more about it, one of them actually having direct experience with Title IX for her school studies in the past. And we were all extremely befuddled as to why a Title IX claim was being pushed against us when I quite literally do not actually permit hentai and pornographic content as something that I teach, because despite actually, working in adult retail over the years and being a proponent of safe sex and discussing human sexuality and being very open about this kind of thing, I hate porn. I really don't like it very much. It doesn't do much of anything for me. But I love me watching some hentai. Tentacle monsters everywhere. My God. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, I derail. Now, obviously, you guys can imagine that with each passing day, each passing moment, and each email that had arrived in my inbox, yeah, we were becoming more and more stressed and more angry. And the people who had been kept in the loop for at least a little bit of this journey, this roller coaster ride of sorts, yeah, those people were kind of kept in the loop in that regard as much as they needed to be. Non-convention staff, of course. And it's been absurd for everybody involved. I will also add in the detail that up until this point, I had also been in contact with the programming department head, Christoph, and he had been pretty great to communicate so far. And whenever I had asked him on, I think it might have been the 4th of February that he had actually answered me, but I had asked for a schedule, a confirmation, so that I would know what times we had and if anything needed to be changed for the preliminary schedule before the con book and everything else went out. So, and he had responded to me stating that he had in fact put me on the schedule. So up until this point, clearly the programming and the convention was operating under the assumption that we were also still showing up and doing all of our content, and therefore so were we, because again, no flags had been raised. Why would we have thought anything differently? Clearly most of the convention staff did as well. So what can you do? Under a lot of circumstances, I would probably be willing to overlook the fact that our programs are spelled incorrectly, which is not how they were sent from our program book to the convention, and that the title of my dating game is actually not used in this description at all. They just call it the cosplay dating game. Guys, when a programmer submits a program name to you, you must use their program name. I'm saying this out of respect and also because you might not know this, but that is definitely a slap in the face to any content creator or artist or anybody who has any kind of intellectual property or physical property of any other kind. Like, use the names that they give to you. Just saying. For the sake of keeping this video shorter, guys, it is here that I'm going to insert the emails, the full thread with Charles and myself, and I am going to attempt to put the emails in the order in which they were received, both from the advisor, McLean, as well as Charles and anybody else in this process. And here is where McLean's emails are going to go now. And mind you, this is with whomever she carbon copied, BCC'd, anybody else who was involved in these emails. You'll probably see them on here. All right, fair. What? Hold the phone. Did you just try to tell me how to do my job? Bitch, are you serious? A job that you clearly don't seem to understand what it actually entails? What? Uh, Kill me.
Take it away, Penny!
Oh, hell no!
So it's at this point that you'd think that this little baby would be put to rest by now, right? No.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
Oh, hell no!
And there you have it, folks. All of the emails from the convention chair, myself, the programming, and the people involved in the department in the school. And I'm not going to count the emails from like before this incident because up until that point, everything seemed like it was operating okay. So this was a snafu within the system of the school. Or so I thought right after that email concluded. And then I got the following set of messages from somebody who was formerly on the cosplay department staff. They told me that they are still a volunteer with the convention this year, and you all will recognize them if you saw any of the footage from the cosplay dating game last year. That would be the host who had been Sebastian last year, Thomas. Hi, Tom. But now this begs the question if the convention staff actually know, and if they're even going to be prepared for you guys to handle the dating game, or not. Luckily, those generally aren't too difficult to improvise, but, well, good luck to you guys, and I hope that everything there goes well, and we still look forward to, talking to and seeing some of you guys, and hopefully, some of us might be able to come back in the future, but unfortunately, Genericon, we're just not going to be able to do it this year, and I'm really brokenhearted. And I mean, let me explain. So, for the shows during the intermissions, we know that I like to give away educational or education related prizes, and we know what I educate on. Had this big old box of goodies, and I was even going to triple or possibly even quadruple the opportunities to receive prizes during the show this year, which was, by the way, going to be the meme theme. So anyway, guys, I'm sorry that this is a video that you possibly had to see starting out your Genericon, but I wanted to get all of the information that I possibly could together, organized, and put in this video and edit it, which took very long time. It is currently 7 in the morning where I'm from. Now it's 7:01. I need to go to bed, but I wish all of you the very best time at Genericon, and also be kind to the staff and clean up after yourselves. Use the recycling bins, kids. I have to yell all of this at you through the computer screen because I can't have the etiquette panel, so take it this way. For all of you who actually stayed along to hear this, I just wanted to keep it as real as I could with you guys, to be as transparent as I know how to be. I know a lot of people don't like my blunt attitude, but paint me green and call me Mary Jane because I'm blunt. Don't go after the con staff, guys. Remember, they may have had a little fault in this, be it like common sense related, communication errors, whatever the case is, like it was fairly minimal, at least I think, from their end, and more on the school. And you don't want to demonize and be rude to a convention and a convention staff full of people who are willing to allow 18 plus educational adult content into their convention, because too many people are willing to hide behind the family friendly mask, assuming that family friendly means that only means it can appeal to insipid young children and insipid young children humor, because no, no. We had the Animaniacs as children, and those were most assuredly definitely not family friendly. I digress again. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. For those of you who did, I hope you all have a truly excellent Genericon, and that the weather is better than it was last year. That turned my 6-hour drive into a 9.5-hour one. Driving from PA in the snow is awful. Driving from PA through a nor'easter is awful. I'll stop whining now. At this point, I am too tired and exasperated to further investigate this, especially since, as far as I'm concerned, my lot in this is essentially done. and my team is so beyond exhausted. And to be honest, guys, this entire situation, this whole series of unfortunate events, as it were, really took a mental toll on quite a few of my members. And for those of you who have seen the dating game, you might remember Rexton Hardcastle, who played the awesome Superman in that dating game round, who got all of your jimmies rustled, but y'all seemed to have a good time. Yeah, he had to drop out because he had so much anxiety over just planning this entire thing, and that it could have been avoided. And it also doesn't help that there are several other of my members now who they I don't even know if they're going to return to conventions after this situation, because we are so used to dealing with treatments similar to this from certain events, at least where our shows are concerned. So they are tired of it. I'm I'm tired. I don't even know how much longer I'm going to continue with the shows based on this, or if I'm just going to continue to do independent programming. We'll see. Anyway, guys, this has been Aniyah Lyszt, the exhibitionist of Pleasant Nightmare Entertainment, wishing you a very, very good and healthy and safe, sane, and consensual Genericon. And remember, life is short, meaningless, and we are all going to die. All the more reason to invest in that nice fancy makeup palette, that nice garter belt lingerie set, and that sex toy that you are just so eager to get. Life's too short, guys. Aniyah Lyszt out. Be safe.